Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? It's Alexander Hiller here. Time for a new video, and for the first time in just over 3 months, it's time for a new music vinyl pickups video today. Apologies for the Alexander Hiller underwear sitting on the radiator there. Ladies, you can see more of that on the OnlyFans, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, today I've not got just 5 to show you, I've got 6 to show you. And the last vinyl music pickups video, like I said, was late November, so it's only just been over 3 months. So giving you guys what you want, more goddamn music content. We're talking about it anyway. And yeah, 6 to show off today. The next music vinyl pickups video probably going to be about 9 months or so, getting towards the end of the year, October, November, December, January, first thing next year. A little bit more time, and be back to 5 probably to show off, but today a bumper edition. Let's get straight into it. We've got classic rock, we've got hard rock, progressive rock, alt rock, all the rocks, but then we got a hippity hop as well. Oh yes. But the first one, where do you categorise this incredible band, this incredible man? You could say some of the sounds of my childhood, because I think we've all got those bands and artists who we enjoyed before we fully enjoyed music as an art form, to listen to like the albums and to get fully engrossed in music and just it become your world. But people start at different ages. Music was always on in my house perhaps, but it was on the radio, and only when I got into my very early teens, 13, 14, did I properly get into music, albums wise, and this band was still making great singles then. This is the first, apart from a Beatles one, which is actually, and has been inherited from a mum basically, Beatles best of, which I think I showed on my first ever vinyl pickups video. If you go back and watch that in the playlist, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first compilation of my own. So this is a compilation of this band, the singles, and the some are the best ever, especially the 90s. Some iconic tracks. I saw this got reissued on the Reddit page that I follow, the vinyl represses, whatever it's called, and I was like, I got to have this. Ladies and gentlemen, these are hard times, but they're also high times as well. And this is the singles, 1992 to 2006. Still in the cellophane, ladies and gentlemen. I've not had time to open them. This man keeps buying, and he doesn't open. But you know what? It's the collector's purposes as well. There, on the back, the track listing, and there's the JK hat. And when you pre-ordered this, it says 2025 tour edition. So they basically just made another tour and said, hey, 20 years since we made this, because this came out in 2006, ladies and gentlemen, and includes one of 5 collectible Buffalo Man laminates. So if you look there, the different hats that JK from Jamiroquai has actually worn throughout the years of the band, the silly, crazy hats that he wears, and you get a different one inside here. But if you were to purchase it again, you might get the same one, so you can't choose seemingly. But what a cool idea. I do wonder which one of the daft hats I've got. One of them looks like I won't say, but I'm just going to read off the track listing before we begin, ladies and gentlemen. If you're into Jamiroquai, you'll probably know most of these, and if you've never listened to the band other than the singles, you might think, well, Alex, you've got the singles, the compilation. Did they make any masterpieces, any astonishing albums? I think they made a couple of fantastic ones. I don't think they ever made a masterpiece, but holy shit, there's a lot of great music here. But the singles just resonate with me so much, and some of the sounds of my childhood. I remember playing Resident Evil 2 when Deeper Underground was out, and All Right, and yeah, some of the songs we're going to read here. When You're Going to Learn, Too Young to Die, one of the best songs ever. Blow Your Mind, Emergency on Planet Earth, Space Cowboy. I think, it doesn't say, but I think that's the radio edit. I don't care, they're both great, but a lot of people don't realise Space Cowboy was like a jazz funky track before it became like a really fun, well-known radio song, radio-friendly song. Virtual Insanity, legendary. Cosmic Girl, Alright, High Times, love that song. Deeper Underground, Canned Heat, that's the one where they're playing Resi as well. Little L, now the dark tone that this is going to overtake now from what we've been talking about is absurd. But that actually reminds me of the September 11th terrorist attacks, and I'll tell you why. Because it was released on that day. And back in the UK, it was always on the telly at that time. And I remember on children's TV, that song was on, and then it got interrupted because of, it was mid-afternoon over here when it happened. So, straight to the news. And so it resonates with me. It's incredible how music can do that. Different vibes. A great happy song can remind you of a terrible time, and then vice versa. Love Philosophy. Bloody love that song. So far. Corner of the Earth. Probably my least favourite song on here. Not bad though. You Give Me Something. Love that song. And then the last album of theirs that I fully listened to, because they're still making music now, but the albums in the last 20 years I've not really listened to them much. Once or twice. Feels Just Like It Should. 7 Days in Sunny June. Don't Give Hate a Chance. And then the 2 bonus tracks that they made for this. If you like Jamiroquai, you've never heard these 2 songs I'm going to talk about now, Runaway and Radio. If you've never heard them, YouTube them now. 2 of the best songs they ever did. And Runaway, I think, is possibly one of the catchiest songs I've ever heard. And what can you say? JK, great voice, great musicianship. Bass players love this band, especially the old stuff. Acid jazz funk bullshit in those early days, absolutely awesome. And then more to a pop vibe, bit of rock. Just really good band. Never made a masterpiece, but all these songs I love dearly. They've made quite a lot of good music. I listened last year to Synchronized for the first time in ages, and I was like, yeah, some of the songs on here are straight bangers, and they made some other good stuff other than the singles. They're not a singles band, but I had to get this. A lot of nostalgia, great music. I've got to pick a favourite song, and I don't know what it's going to be. First ever time, guys, in the drop-down menu, when I pick my favourite song, don't know what the hell it's going to be. But I'll just say, on the last Jamiroquai album in 2005, I can't even remember what the album was called. JK is in kind of like an alley. It's a dark vibe, a bit darker. Feels Just Like It Should. 7 Days in Sunny June. That was a chill, massive nostalgia when I was 15 for that song. Holy shit. 7 Days in Sunny June, a romance song. Don't Give Hate a Chance. Those gospel singers, unbelievable. Feels Just Like It Should, a rock song. So those 3 songs showcase the different vibes, the different sounds of the band. The sounds of silence, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, what a segue that was, eh? And this is a repressing from Christmas 1973, it said there. But this album, 1965, and is now joint with Jackson C. Frank's self-titled album, my oldest vinyl that I own in terms of when it was released. I don't know which is the oldest. Go on Wikipedia and find out for me, because I can't be arsed, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, and you know who produced that Jackson C. Frank album? It's Mr. Simon himself. Mr. Paul Simon produced it, ladies and gentlemen. And I got this one. I got that off Reddit, obviously. I saw it as a reissue. This, when the vinyl guys came to my town, they come like 4 times a year. I saw this in the bargain bucket. £5. I mean, come on. What? I just saw it and just like, yeah, I'm having it straight away. 1973 pressing. It says Xmas 1973 on the back here. So 5, 6, 7, 8 years, nearly 9 years after it was made. They're the fellas on the back. And Simon and Garfunkel, I mean, where do I stand with them? Well, this is my favourite. That's why I bought it. A little less bombastic and a less of a fuller sound than Bridge Over Troubled Water, I would say. The albums after this and the one before it, which whose names escape me. There's some absolutely gorgeous songs. It's all about the writing of Simon. It's all about the voice of Garfunkel. And for me, one of the true tragedies of music, I was going to say modern music, not modern now, but one of the tragedies of music for me is that this guy, he can't write music. He's not a writer, but his vocals are just on another stratosphere. Absolutely astonishing. And together they're amazing. In the last Vinyl Pickups video I did, Kings of Convenience, a great folk band, and one of their songs is about a young girl and I, member of Kings of Convenience, finding Simon and Garfunkel, listening to the music for the first time. two soft voices blended in perfection from the reels of this record that I found. Oh my god, it's a song called Homesick. I mentioned that in the last video, but yeah, absolutely glorious. Anyway, the songs are here. Sounds of Silence itself, one of the best songs ever. And can I just say, that version from Disturbed, the worst cover song of all time. And I want to strangle not only the guy from Disturbed, the bald prick, but anyone who likes that song. Absolutely terrible cover. Awful cover. Oh, look at me. I can sing. You fucking idiot, man. Oh my god. I remember when that came out around a bit time of COVID and everything. Absolutely terrible. Terrible cover. Can't stop talking about it. Leaves That Are Green. Blessed. Kathy's song. Somewhere They Can't Find Me. Angie. Written by Davy Graham. And it says here, one of England's finest jazz blues guitarists. I actually remember listening to Davy Graham's music about 15 or so years ago when I was getting into a lot of folk. And yeah, that's his. It's a jangly piece. Really cool. Homeward Bound legend Richard Corey. Oh, I've got goosebumps. Got goosebumps on that one. Lyrically, just unbelievable. So clever. Beautiful song. Dark, though, as well. A most peculiar man. You want to talk about dark? April Come She Will, probably the most beautiful track on the album, I think. We've got a groovy thing going. Not one of my favourites. And then I Am a Rock. Also not one of my favourites, if I'm being honest. Massive cover done by Red House Painters, one of my favourite bands ever. Mark Kozelek. Maybe we'll see him again in the vinyl music pickups, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, not one of my favourites of theirs. But overall, a legendary classic album. We've got 6 to show off today. This is the most well-known universally, I would say. Although the next band and some of the other artists I'm showing in this final pickups video, you know, it's not the most obscure music ever. I'm not aiming for that to be the case. It's music that I love, but you know, Simon and Garfunkel are utterly renowned. But yeah, legendary. So we'll talk about it a little less, that's what I'm saying. But here it says CBS stereo records can be played on mono reproducers, provided either a compatible or stereo cartridge wired for mono is fitted. Recent equipment may already be fitted with a suitable cartridge. Oh, consult your dealer. Okay. I tell you, who else had a dealer? Whoa! Oh, the segues today are unbelievable. And you know what? I've got another from this band to the next band. Oh, this is exciting. Every album is now going to segue. What's the next one segueing into? Oh, Christ, I don't think I can segue that one. Not sure. But what do I mean? Well, if you're a fan of Alice in Chains, you know Lane Staley had a deal, ladies and gentlemen. And it goddamn killed him. It's Alice in Chains. It's Dirt. One of the first vinyls I got. The Jar of Flies Sap EP, ladies and gentlemen. Sap released 92. And the Jar of Flies released late 93. Not know why I'm speaking like that. 2 of the best EPs ever. Oh, goddamn time. Alice in Chains, the best band from that grunge era, in my opinion. Absolutely astonishing music. But this is the opus. This is the masterpiece. This is what I listened to first time when I was 18, getting into these guys in 2008. And it's a harrowing listen. It's a heavy listen. It's a brooding listen. It's absolutely gorgeous as well. Down in the Hole. There are no words. The magnitude of that song, and there it is on the album cover. Well, going to be in a hole soon anyway, on top of the hole right now. And then we've got some desert landscape, some Las Vegas, Nevada shit, but of course Alice in Chains from Seattle, ladies and gentlemen. So many great bands of that time, and obviously, you know, this got put in with the grunge movement, but some of the downtrodden, filthy guitars on this album, it's more so metal than rock, to be honest, and it is the heaviest album of theirs. I'd say the darkest and most brooding and strangest and experimental, though, the one after this, and it recently got reissued, but I thought, you know what, you can never have too much Alice in Chains, but it's the Tripod album, the three-legged dog on the front cover. Astonishing album, a little underrated in my opinion. I did an Alice in Chains ranking back in 2022, ladies and gentlemen, and I think that was my third favourite behind Jar of Flies and Dirt. Lane's vocals at that time weren't quite as strong as they were because his voice had been completely destroyed by the heroin and other substances he was putting in his body. But on this album, you could say he's not quite at his best because of Facelift, the album before this, his voice being probably at its strongest, but the songs didn't necessarily suit him. Facelift's a fantastic album, but it drifts off a little. This album is obviously just a Stonewall masterpiece. Them Bones, opening the album up, I mean, what can we say about that song? Is it the best alternative metal song ever? Have all these post-grunge, not post-metal, but these bands that are metal, but it's like new metal orientated and inspired. They've been all trying to copy that song for over 30 years and not got the solo perfection. The lyrics dark and brooding. The video's cool as fuck. Absolutely insane. Such memories for me and a lot of other millennials and older people playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for the first time. So when that came out, it was 4 years before I actually got into the band. I didn't really listen to music like that at that time. But just so cool. 1992, what can I say? Down That River. Fun. Heavy as fuck song. Great chorus. And then you got songs like Rain When I Die, Sick Man, Dirt. They go on for like 6 minutes. They're not so chorus verse chorus. There's a little bit more going on in those tracks. A little bit more progressive perhaps in the style. But they're always dark. They're always absurdly dark with lyrics that are both championing and doing the opposite in regards to drug usage, of course, which was going on. I don't know when Jerry Cantrell, Mr. Alice in Chains, doesn't get enough credit because of Lane, obviously, back in the day, but he's astonishing. He's also the voice of the band, and the harmonies here, just great, but they were always great on every single album. And his solo album, Jerry, from last year, a good return to form. That Brighton album wasn't doing it for me. That was a dad rock, in my opinion. But his album from last year, check it out, ladies and gentlemen. It's pretty good. You're never going to get an album like this again, though. And, I've spoken before about the usage of drugs in music and how and why it helped create and craft so much great songs. Well, these guys were living it and just put it all out there in the sound booths. And, yeah, absolute legendary. Rooster, not the best song on the album. It's one everyone knows, though. It's still great. Junkhead. I didn't used to like that when I was a kid, but now I love it. Well, when I was 18, I should say. Getting into it. Godsmack. Fuck the band Godsmack. Wankers. Hate to Feel. Love that song. Wish I Couldn't Feel at All. Angry Chair. One of the heaviest on the album. And then Wood, with one of the best intro bass lines. And just remember Wood as well. It's about Andrew Wood, a guy who died from... What band was it? Was it Mother Love Bone or the other one? Temple of the Dog. There's so many like spin-off bands with grunge as well, and Lane was in The River of Deceit. That's one of the song names. Mad Season. So many spin-off bands because they all respected and liked each other and collaborated with each other as well. Just an absolutely astonishing time. I was in my nappies. I was 3 years old when this came out, but wish I could have been there. And what about the latest news, ladies and gentlemen? Mr. Kurt Cobain not turned up yet in the vinyl music pickups, but they're saying that he didn't kill himself. The shotgun, I want to see the shotgun he used, because I mean shotguns are like that big, and I don't know, I think it would be possible, like there now, blow your own fucking neck off, but they're saying that he didn't kill himself. Courtney Love is a bitch, obviously, but so who knows? I still think he did, to be honest, but yeah, new evidence coming out and people are going mad about it, so maybe something will happen in regards to that. Such a shame, because he was going to go on to different greater things, in my opinion. Such a intriguing songwriter, lyrics that are just very out there and different. And that's the thing with all these bands, they were all so different. Soundgarden is just completely 50% Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath. These guys were the heaviest and the darkest. Pearl Jam were loving Jimi Hendrix, and then a bit more classical rock style, and Neil Young. Great music. But ladies and gentlemen, Alice in Chains Dirt, legendary. Could speak about it for another 5 minutes, but I can't because this video I want it to be under 45 minutes long. Could speak about it for another 5 hours. Legendary, one of my top albums of all time. You rock out with it and you sit there and feel sad with it as well. Like I said, down the hole, I think I'm going to put it as my favourite song If you never listen to Alice in Chains, so it's not indicative of the whole album, it's the ballad of the album, it's the sad song of the album. It's a masterpiece. But you know what band covered wood? Woohoo! Yeah! Oh, look at that little porcelain doll there. That is, or is it actually a little girl? I don't know. It's creepy. You don't know what's what. You certainly don't. Is this gothic enough for you? Is this dark enough for you? Is this brooding enough for you? It's all brooding tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Astonishing album cover. Astonishing album. And yes, for the 2008 album Watershed, Opeth did a cover of Wood, and all the Opeth fans, who some of them are pretty unbearable, to be honest with you. Obviously, it's a fractured fan base now, if you don't know. Opeth started as a death metal band in the early 90s. And in the 2011 album, what's it called? Harvest? No, what's it called? No, that's a song, Harvest. Watershed. No, it's not Watershed. Heritage, sorry. They started singing clean vocals. Now, very contentious band for me. I've got an Opeth t-shirt. I think Michael Ackerfeld is incredibly talented. I think these guys and the revolving door of musicians they've had over the years, they've been around a long time now, are astonishing. I think they've made some of the best music ever made. I absolutely love the softer side. And this is an album they did that coincided with another album called Deliverance, which is quite the opposite, full of full-on death metal screams, tracks that I think most of the songs on that album last like 10-15 minutes. It's one of my least favourite Opeth albums. And I'm not a huge fan of growled vocals, but if you look at something like Paradise Lost, I recently watched someone called Jim Newstead. He reacts to music. Sounds clickbaity. I watch some of those kinds of channels, even though I feel guilty. But Jim is, I think he's probably in his early mid-50s by now, I'd say, and he's a chill guy. He listens to mostly progressive rock and metal style music. Never listened to Paradise Lost. He listened to them yesterday for the first time. Ascension, the latest album, is fucking awesome. Paradise Lost, one of my favourite bands ever. And I feel about Paradise Lost and Catatonia, although Catatonia have fallen off now in my opinion. Always been one of my favourite bands of all time. But I feel the same about those bands that other people feel about Opeth. But I feel about Opeth like those guys feel, those other people feel about probably Catatonia, Paradise Lost. Oh yes, they're a very good band. Oh yes, I very much respect them. But I don't adore them. And that's me with Opeth. Because of the growled vocals, and the talent is just off the charts. You know, the time signatures, the vocals are incredibly intense. Michael Ackerfeld back in the days, like blowing your face off, screams. So why don't I like it? Because I can't understand what he's saying, and that's what I'm comparing Paradise Lost. Jim Newstead yesterday, when I was watching his reaction video to Ascension, was saying I can understand the vocals, and yeah, when you can, it's amazing because you can growl along if you want, but with Michael's vocals, when they're growled, I find it very hard to listen. And obviously we're meant to be talking about the album here, but I can't help but talk a little about the artists in general when I showcase them to you, ladies and gentlemen. But Opeth's such an amazing band, and at this time, Mr. Stephen Wilson of Porcupine Tree, one of my favourite bands ever. I don't really listen to him much anymore, but holy shit, what a genius, what a legend. He was producing their music at this time, and he even features on song number 1 here, Window Pane. And of course, this is all clean vocals. There is electric guitar, but a lot of acoustic. And Michael is very fond of like Arabic themes and songs. There's one song here that has like an outro that just lasts for 3 minutes, and it's some belly dancing shit, man. It's crazy, so good, really catchy, but still dark, brooding, like I always say. It's the day of broods today. We're all brooding. In my time of need, death whispered a lullaby. Closure, hope leaves to rid the disease. Ending credits, weakness. I think there's a few instrumentals here as well. And when I look at the track listing, you know, it's weird because when I look at Alice in Chains or some other bands that I might talk about today or have done in the past, I remember the track listing completely. But here, I don't. And it is kind of because all the songs blend into one and they do sound very similar to each other. But pardon me, it doesn't matter. It's a vibe album. It's a winter album, even though we're coming out of winter now, thank God. And it's just a fantastic listen. Progressive rock, but not probably the most progressive thing they've ever made. And, you know, it's interesting because when Heritage came out, I thought that's what I wanted from Opeth. And yet, when they started to make exclusively clean vocal music, I wanted it to sound like this, and it sounded a bit that rocky. Now, don't get me wrong, the last album, In Chord of Venom, the one before the last one last year, where they returned to the growled vocals, it had one of the best songs I've ever heard. And I just love the more melodic side of Opeth, even though I do like some metal. I don't listen to as much as I used to. But yeah, In Chord of Venom. Yeah. What is it? Next to Lovelorn Crime. That's it. Christ almighty, listen to that song. You've been bawling your eyes out. I'm telling you right now. Absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, Opeth, legendary band. Didn't enjoy the last album. I saw a few other people and reactors saying, I think some people are just liking this because it's got growl vocals, and I agree. And what I was saying before about the fan base, I prefer the clean vocals, I prefer the growled vocals, all the clean music sucks, and people have different taste, and it's just insufferable. It really is. A little like this, man. Oh, wow, it's the first time I've actually... Oh, cool, got this out. Is there a segue here? Can I go from Opeth to this band? I think I've heard Michael Ackerfeld praise this man once. That's all I got for you. But you would praise him, wouldn't you? Because I think, and I might be wrong here, but this is the first ever time the same person, I might be wrong here, as the lead of a band or artist, whatever, blah, 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 has appeared, you know, 2 different times. 2 different monikers, 2 different names, 2 different aliases, 2 different whatever the fucks. Ladies and gentlemen, it ain't getting any less gothic. It ain't getting any less creepy. You just saw a doll. You've got another one. Oh my days. It is Sunkill Moon, Ghosts of the Great Highway. And I will never, ever stop calling this album Ghosts of the Lost Highway, because in my head, it's Ghosts of the Lost Highway. But it's Mr. Mark Kozelek yet again. We've spoken about him a few times on this channel, of course. I did a Red House Painter's Worst to Best. About 3 or so years ago, I've done a vinyl pickups video of Roller Coaster, the second album. I would love to get the debut album one day. And it's quite hard to find Sunkill Moon vinyls because they're not the most popular band in the world. I call them band because I think the other members of Red House Painters were in Sunkill Moon at the start, but after a while they're not. And I've never seen one of these. Look at that. That's on the side. How interesting. Includes the vinyl-only bonus track, Gentle Moon Acoustic. It's one of the best songs ever. Nothing major, just one of the best songs ever. The long-anticipated project from Mark Kozelek of Red House Painters. And in recent years, ladies and gentlemen, 12 years ago now, 2014, Mark kind of probably reached his peak musically, I would say, with an album called Benji, where he started having this stream of consciousness. And it was the end of him really singing in a lot of his music. What he's been doing in the last 10 years or so is a stream of consciousness, talking through songs with some instrumentation, a lot of experimentation. And to be honest with you, I haven't enjoyed any of it. And as well, some of the things he's saying is just like, oh my God, it's like, this is how I see the world. I'm an opinionated man, and he's not very well liked in music circles. And then some things came out about what he's done in the past, and this, that, and the other. And of course, then we get the talk of separating the music from the artist and all that good stuff. Of course, they were just allegations, but at the end of the day, this man has made music that I can't say that I don't adore this album. And do I prefer Sunkill Moon or Red House Painters? I think I prefer Red House Painters overall. This isn't even my favourite Sunkill Moon. Obviously, it's the first, released in, I think, 2003, I want to say. The year before, the next album. That's the only segue track you're getting, or segue between this album and the next, because the next one's a hip-hop album, so... I don't think Mark Kozolak probably knows the next album. He might do, who knows. November 2003 this came out, and this album, ladies and gentlemen, 3 of the album's songs are named after boxers, following on from Find Me Ruben Olivares from Kozolak's debut solo EP Rock and Roll Singer. The band name is also a pun on the Korean boxer Sung Kil Moon. The opening number is named after Judas Priest guitarist Glenn Tipton. The song Pancho Villa is a more luscious arrangement of Salvador Sanchez. They are all old school boxers, and that is one of Mark's things. He likes old school boxing from like the 1920s, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even know if there's any footage of that era of people boxing. Maybe there is, I bet there is, but it's interesting to say the least. And it says here the song Carry Me Ohio was listed as number 462 on Pitchfork's 500 songs of the 2000s. Fuck Pitchfork, but yeah, it is an incredible album. And my favourite Sung Kil Moon album is 2 after this. He did a cover of Modest Mouse songs, a band I've never listened to, ladies and gentlemen, Tiny Cities, and it's absolutely brilliant. Not listened to it in years. And also 2010, Admiral Fell Promises, purely on a nylon string guitar, like Spanish classical guitar. So underrated. I don't know why that album doesn't have legendary status. It's phenomenal, and I implore you to check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Admiral Fell Promises 2010. And then I think that's the peak of Sung Kil Moon for me. But I did like Among the Leaves and Benji, but didn't love him. And like I said, now he's just, holy shit. There's an album here, 2 out of 10, 40 out of 100. The album cover here is a blurred picture of his cat. I mean, what is going on with Mark? He doesn't seem to want to make the kind of music here that he used to make, and I think that's fair enough, but he's kind of like, without the utter, complete, ridiculous insanity, but he kind of reminds me of what fucking Kanye West has done, you know. Yeah. Oh, I'm not actually listened or seen. Yeah, it's the other members of Red House Painters, I do believe. And it shows additional musicians here. Published by God Forbid. Cool name. It's the publisher name. And there's some thanks to people here. I don't think I recognise any names. Probably not people that I would know, even as a music listener. Of course, it was released in 2003. And yeah, there's 2 separate discs for this one. Mark always liked putting one really long track on his albums that makes no sense as to why it's there, and this is no different. A song called Lily and Parrots, which is a rock song, and I used to dislike it, but I enjoy it now. Oh, sorry, Duck Koo Kim. But yeah, Carry Me Ohio, Glenn Tipton, Salvador Sanchez, Last Tide, Floating Gentle Moon, and it's got this really nice balance of the softer side of Mark's music with the rock side, and astonishing lyrics, very poignant, very beautiful, but also not so on the nose, like his new music's all about him and you know exactly what he's talking about. Here, you don't necessarily, and I think it's Glenn Tipton, the opening track. It's absolutely astonishing. It's really nice and beautiful. You're listening, you're like, oh, this is brilliant. And then he starts talking about burying his first victim. And I was digging into the pocket of her jeans, and I'm like, what the hell? Where did this come from? And it's like, that is the magic of Mark Kozolak. He's taking you on a different journey now. And you're like, okay, this is interesting. Not what I thought it was. You know, I was speaking to a family, you know, a relative about this album, and he said, I think, you know, some people say Mark's like Neil Young, but I see him as more like, the American Nick Drake, but he's not. He's his own man, and there's comparisons with other great songwriters. But yeah, fantastic album. And on the back, there are little eggs. Wonder what the story is behind that. And who it is? I might Google that actually. Oh Jesus! And now, ladies and gentlemen, there's no real segue apart from the fact that this is the year after Sung Kil Moon came out. This was released 2004. March 2004, and I'd just like to say, no segues here, that's all I got for you, but if you were going to mention in the comments section this man, you better do it with all caps. As for this guy, I don't know. You can do it all caps, but you don't need to. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Madlib, and that is MF Doom. I feel a bit emotional about this one, to be honest with you. I think, obviously, Lane Staley's no longer with us. Everyone else who I've spoken about so far, there might be some band members that have passed away. I know the original Jamiroquai bassist passed away, actually. It mentioned that in 2001, around the time of A Funk Odyssey. But of course, Metal Fingers Doom. He's no longer with us, ladies and gentlemen. I think it was late 2000, late 2021, I should say, not 2020, the Corona year. And it was around about Christmas. I think it was just after Christmas. And I went on Twitter and saw the news and just like dumbfounded. And honestly, I can't remember what it was. We'll find out here why and how he died, because he was only like 49 or something. 49, yeah. And he died in Leeds, England. And, you know, I think his Facebook page is run by his long-term girlfriend or his wife. And you'll notice a confused look on my face here, because there's a lot of smoke and mirrors and you don't necessarily know the truth. At the end of the day, this is a man who wore a helmet and a mask to protect his identity, even though people kind of could tell it's him anyway. You know, he's a bizarre man, I mean that in the nicest way possible. And that bizarre nature shone through in the music. But it's not just about that. It's about the lyrics, about the flow, obviously. And it's about the fact that as a rock man, maybe, I don't mean to be patronising or I don't mean to insult, but you know how it is with different genres of music and how people who like rock don't feel that there's any talent in regards to sampling or hip-hop or rapping. And of course there is, needless to say. There definitely is, there's no doubt about that. But I think a lot of the time with rap artists, it's what I would call flash in the pan. It's an album or two of pure brilliance and then it doesn't last. Not just because they die, because they get shot, but I don't know. It's you know, the hip hop world changes, the gangster era of the 90s, and then it getting shit and the money getting involved in the 80s where it wasn't gangster and all that shit, and you know, samples of old school funk and jazz, and this is kind of what this is, I guess, in a way, in its own way. But I'm going off on a tangent now, but yeah, we see there that he died in Leeds, England, and I don't really want to talk about the upbringing, and there's so much information here on his Wikipedia page, and I think he got kicked out of America. It does say about citizenship here, and he remained a British citizen, but he had an American accent. It says here, his name is Daniel Dumoulin, by the way. Married to his wife Jasmine for an unknown period until his death in October 2020. Christ almighty, it's been over 5 years. They had 5 children together. In late 2017, his son Malachi, I think that is, died from unspecified causes at the age of 14. So we don't know. Let's see here. Respiratory problems. He was a very big man, ladies and gentlemen, a very big man indeed. Puffing out that chest, not turning up for his shows. He even spoke about that in some of his songs. Didn't like turning up to his own concerts, apparently, or would put a stooge there, someone turning up pretending to be him. Not good practice, really. But I don't know how many times that happened. He died from angioedema, an adverse reaction to blood pressure medication. And I think there was a little bit of... Yeah, here we go. Dumoulin's treatment had been substandard. I mean, we're not talking about politics here. We're not talking about anything else. But, well, people in this country will tell you the state of the National Health Service in the UK, it's not the best. And had he been in America, would he survive? Because that's the thing. You know, a lot of people in this country like to give the Americans a lot of... It's all playful, some banter and whatnot, but it's free healthcare and all that shit. But pay, survive, get it free and die. So I don't know, but what I do know is it seems like he shouldn't have left the building when he did. It's a tragedy for anyone, but it's a tragedy for a true genius, in my opinion. And that's what I was going to say. I do say the G word with this guy. Unbelievable discography, not just as MF Doom. He is MF Doom here, but there's also Victor Vaughn here. There also might be King Ghidorah. I can't remember. You might be thinking here there's just Doom as well without MF Doom. Metal Fingers, the instrumental albums. Yeah, that's right. This guy could produce as well. Amazing producer. I remember listening to those Special Herbs albums and just vibing. Great music to like chill to, play a video game that you can zone out to, and yeah, just really, really cool. And Madlib also has Quasimodo, his little kind of yellow icon, like a stuffed toy or some bullshit, I don't know. He puts this weird squeaky voice on, and he is a rapper too. So he's not just about the production and on the motherfucking decks, he is singing as well, rapping, whatever. But the Quasimodo albums, I've not listened to them in a while, but they're really good. Solid music. I think one was released about 2000 and the other one was around about this time, 2004, 2005-ish. I remember if he's done another one after that. But yeah, this album, so many hip-hop and rap albums suffer from bloat. This album is very long. It's got 22 tracks. There are skits here. So one of my criticisms of hip-hop and rap were some, and I'll tell you something, Food, which came out around about the time, 2003, 4, 5, Doom was just absolutely smashing it. And the first I ever heard of him was November Has Come by Gorillaz. A fantastic short track. I was like, who the hell is this guy? Unbelievable. Yeah, around that time he was just doing so much. But yeah, the skits here work. But Food, there's a few in the middle of the album that slow it down. I love that album. Victor Vaughn, a bit more grimy and dirty sounding. And he's a bit more of an evil character, Victor Vaughn. He is actually saying, on one track on this one, which is it now? I can't remember if it is it Fancy Clown. Yeah, there it is, featuring Victor Vaughn. He's featuring himself. What on God's green earth? You better be telling Tinhead to be ducking down, ladies and gentlemen. Tinhead better be ducking down. Victor Vaughn's coming after him. Just unbelievable. Got goosebumps. He's making songs with different alter egos. A 10-year-old kid would be proud of this. And that's the thing. There's so much lightheartedness, so much intelligence, brilliant lyrics. Some go over my head, to be fair, but a true genius. Can't believe he's gone. America's Most Blunted, featuring Quasimodo. So if you want to listen to Quasimodo, you can hear him. And it's a piss take, obviously, of America's Most Wanted, Tupac and Snoop Dogg, one of the best songs ever, obviously. Money Folder, love that. Figaro, yes. Hardcore Hustle, Strange Ways. I think that samples an old progressive rock song that I know. Can't remember which it is. That's a beautiful song, that. All Caps, Great Day, and Rhinestone Cowboy. Ladies and gentlemen, it's probably the best MF Doom. But you know what? I talked about Mert Kozilek. I've got a Red House Painters and a Sunkill Moon. Well, I've got Madvillain. Maybe one day we will get MF Doom. And it would be Food, although his original album, what was it called now? Just Doomsday, I think. And that is one of the best songs ever, not just in rap, but just in music in general. Let's have a look here. Operation Doomsday. At the end of that song, Doomsday, this guy talking about, oh no, it's Rhymes Like Dimes, and this guy called Cucumber Slice, that's his name. What'd you put on the end of records? I don't know. Applesauce, mashed potatoes. It's just so fun. It's just so silly. MF Doom, glad he's finally in the collection. Another hip-hop rap album. Got about 4 or 5 of them now. And the next Pickups video, there's going to be another one. We're going all the way back to 95. Get the motherfucking bulletproof vest on, ladies and gentlemen, because those motherfuckers are talking about the projects. Projects this, projects that. I'll speak about it in my next Pickups video. What are projects? I googled it. It's basically, for anyone in the UK if you don't know, because I keep hearing these rap songs, projects. What are they on about? It's rough apartment blocks which you struggle to get out of because of the upbringing that you've been given and everything. So I was like, oh, right, okay. I don't know what we call that in the UK, to be honest, living in this shit all, the tough hood, the tough neighbourhood. I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, absolutely delighted to have done another music vinyl pickups video. 6 to show off there. Don't know what my favourite from that album is, or Sun Kill Moon. I'll pick one, put it in the drop down box. And it's now the 6th of March. It'll be April, May, June, July, August, September, October. It's about November, December, about 8 or 9 months when we'll have the next one. And for all you guys out there wanting a bit of evil as I make this, a bit of Resident Evil Requiem, my highlights and encounters, I'm a few hours from the end. It'll take me probably a good week to edit that because I've got about 30 hours of footage. But yeah, the game's been positive overall. Also going to do a review of it. And like I said, the highlights and encounters video. It'll be another gaming pickups video, a review of Requiem, a bit of retro football to come. Still can't make as many videos as I would like to, but hopefully later in the year I will. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.